Yo, what is good YouTube? Jay Bari here, and I'm back with another video here to talk about some more the first Berserker Khazan. The first Berserker Khazan is definitely one of my favorite games to come out this year. I am loving this game to death. I think this game should be a Game of the Year contender, and I'm here to talk about it some more with my latest video ranking all the main 16 bosses from easiest to hardest. This is based off of my experience with these bosses, my opinions, and how I felt about some of these bosses. How much did I struggle with some, and how much I didn't struggle with others, you know? And I am always down for a discussion in the comment section as far as, you know, where you will rank some of these bosses. Do you agree with where I place some of these? But like I said, this is just based off my experience, you know, my own personal experience as far as my struggle or ease of use to fighting some of these bosses. And yeah, let's have some fun with it. Hopefully you all enjoy this video. But here is my easiest to hardest bosses within the first Berserker Khazan. Strap in, let's get it, let's have some fun. And here we go. And here is number one, the first boss that you actually face in the first Berserker Khazan, Yetuga. I feel like this is the easiest boss in the game because basically it's a tutorial boss. You know, you have the, you know, actions and the button prompts right there to the left of you, let you know, hey, this is what you do to sprint, this is what you do to attack, this is how you do a charge attack, here's the block. Not saying that you won't have any type of struggle within this boss fight, but compared to all the other boss fights that we'll be listing here, this is definitely one of the easiest ones, or the easiest one. So yeah, Yetuga takes number one for me as the easiest boss in the game because it's getting you acclimated as far as all the things that this game is to offer. And it's pretty fun fight. So yeah, Yetuga is number one for me. And fairly easy boss fight, especially when you're fighting through New Game Plus and all that stuff. You can get rid of this boss very fast. Majority of the boss fights that I'm using here, or the clips that I'm using here, are all from my first experience, my first encounter with these bosses. But yeah, number one, easiest boss in the game is Yetuga. Coming in at number two is actually probably going to be a shocker for a lot of people, but Bellerian is my second easiest boss fight that I had in the first Berserker Khazan. What makes this boss fight pretty easy is that a lot of the things that she does can be canceled out if you just pretty much be aggressive to her. It took me a while to figure it out, you know, but once you figure it out, like, wait, this charge up move that she's doing, I can just run up and attack, get her out of there, and her health would deplete very, very fast. The real struggle comes in is when she start doing all the summons within the boss fight. When you start summoning the phantom, you know, the dogs or the archers, where you got to focus on things outside of her while she's doing her own attacks. But to be honest with you, I didn't struggle with this boss. I really didn't struggle with this boss. I probably died twice to this boss before I beat her. And that was probably the second time I died. I was probably just like, oh, let me figure this out. What's going on with this phantom guy? You know, but you can just easily just press her and easily attack her. And she does create this little shield that's to prolong the fight. But honestly, I don't think this is a hard fight at all. It's one of those later boss fights, I want to say around closer to, you know, a little bit halfway to past the midway point. But I think this is one of the easiest boss fights in the game. That is Bellerian. Like I said, once you figure out all the summons and the fact that you really don't have to respect this boss too much, you know, yeah, the Phantom, you probably got to respect him a little bit, but you can hit her a lot. You can just hit her out of a lot of the things that she do here. This is probably the most difficult part of the boss fight, is figuring the pattern of this phantom. And once again, like I said, all the footage that you see here are from my first time beating these boss fights. It's easy cakewalk, new game plus, or even when I'm farming to just get an item to drop from this boss, it's just cakewalk. So yeah, that's how I'm basing a lot of my opinions when it comes to ranking from easiest to hardest. My first time beating it, was it super difficult? Was it hard to figure out? And I don't think Bellerian is one of the harder bosses to figure out. Actually, she's pretty quite easy to figure out. But yeah, she's sitting at number 2. Also, I think she's, a gorgeous boss fight. The music and everything. But yeah, she's sitting at number 2 for me as the easiest boss in the game, or one of the easiest bosses in the game. Number 3, we have the famous Blade Phantom. The reason why I got Blade Phantom at number 3 is because I don't necessarily think he's a super difficult fight, but there is a little difficulty spike to him. There's 2 phases within this boss fight, which is a big jump from the first boss. And there's just a flurry of attacks that the Blade Phantom will throw at you to test your skill as far as, do you know how to block? Do you know how to dodge? Are you perfect parrying? And yeah, there's attacks where he just throws your timing off with the kicks, just like that. So yeah, the Blade Phantom, I don't think he's a difficult fight, but he's definitely a knowledge and skill check, just to make sure the player is like, hey, are you really learning this fight? Are you really learning this game? Because if you're not learning, this boss is gonna mess you up. And yeah, he hits like a truck. Definitely hits like a truck in this boss fight. But yeah, I don't think he's super difficult, so I have him at number 3. But he does offer quite a good challenge just to test those skills. And you're still trying to figure things out at this point in the game, so it's definitely going to be a little. It's a skill curve here with this boss fight. But yeah, I have him at number 3 as the third easiest boss in the game. Number 4, Aratra. So yeah, the infamous spider poison boss. Just to get to this boss was a difficult task. But the boss itself, very, very intimidating, but not so hard. When you do learn that, hey, I can just target, one of her claws or whatnot, we're gonna call it, and it just blows up and takes a big chunk of her life. This boss becomes a little bit easier. If you're just targeting the main, head, you're gonna have a long time fighting this boss. You're gonna be there for a long time. But overall, once you just figure out that, hey, I can pretty much bust these little claws up, it takes a big chunk of her life, and knowing that you have the antidotes to deal with the poison, I think you're going to be pretty good. But this boss can be a pretty difficult one. It took me a while to figure things out, just to get the optimal damage with her, against her. And at first, I didn't know that when she crawls up to escape after you bust up her legs, you can just use your spear to hit her down. You can just throw the little spear things at her to hit her down. I didn't know that at first. But yeah, I got Aratra at number 4. Not a super difficult fight, but it's a knowledge check once again. But I feel like once you get that knowledge there, and once you're acclimated with the game, you can pretty much steamroll this boss. So yeah, she's sitting at number 4, Aratra. At number 5, we have Volbaino. Like Volbaino, I put him at number 5 because there's kind of a gimmick to this fight, where there's 2 layers to this boss fight. Wherever he lets off his little anvil and his nail, he's gonna set that whole floor ablaze, and you guys got to know how to maneuver around the actual boss fight stage more than anything. But yeah, I don't have him as super difficult fight. Once you figure out that, oh, there's 2 levels, I can use the ladder, I can kind of cheese out a little bit. I don't think Volbaino's a hard fight, so he's sitting at number 5. Number 6, I have one of my favorite fights in the game, Princess Ilyna. I love the hell out of this fight. The fact that she's so aggressive and some of the animations within her fight are so cool. It's just like, if you sit down and watch what Princess Ilyna is doing or what she's summoning, you're like, oh, I get it. From the whole area to leading up to here, she has like a choir that she summons that spits out all this chaos damage and whatnot. But one thing I do love about the fight, like I said earlier, I like how aggressive she is. She's basically like playing another player. You know, she want to come in for the attack. She want to stagger you. She just want to do as much damage as possible. And it's just such a cool fight where it definitely puts you to the test because she's so aggressive and how she attacks, and that she can dodge, and you're whiffing a lot of her attacks because it's hard to get close to her. But definitely a cool, very cool fight. And when it gets to the second phase to the fight, can be annoying because once again she's going to summon a shield and she does a whole bunch of chaos damage. And this move right here, this scratch, can just like mitigate a lot of the damage that you want to output, because you getting hit by that scratch kind of gives you chaos damage. Very, very annoying fight to do in the second phase. But overall, here's the quiet thing I was talking about. Really dope. You gotta watch those balls. But this fight is just so cool. So many layers to it. It definitely cranks up the difficulty spike in the second phase of it. But if you are pretty aggressive as much as she is aggressive, I think you'll be good in this fight. Doesn't matter what weapon you use. But yeah, there's certain attacks you gotta watch out for. The little scratch, that little that move right there, little projectile that follows up by the chaos like explosion, and the choir move. Those moves are very difficult to deal with at first, but once you just slow it down a little bit, figure her out, you're going to be good to go. And I like the boss fights that, you know, have the kind of like human stamina bar, because it depletes much faster, and they can, by them doing a move, it also depletes as well. But yeah, I have Princess Ilyna at number 6, and one of my favorite fights in this game. At number 7, I have Rangkus. Yo, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This boss was messing me up. I'm not gonna lie, he was definitely messing me up. The boss feel easy enough where it could be like, you know what, I can just steamroll this guy. But he hits like a truck. Like, you can't really make a lot of mistakes with this boss fight. I have him at 7 because I feel like the other bosses are harder, where if you do make a mistake, it's definitely more punishing. But yeah, with Rangkus, you just can't mess up, especially that last little portion of the fight, because now the fire damage is kicking. Now he's doing earth explosions. Now he's just doing one-hit KOs. It's just ridiculous on how much damage this guy can do. At the beginning, you think this guy is he's slow. I can just get his stamina bar down fast. There's nothing really too difficult about this guy. The movement, the mobility is not there. But once he start picking that fire up, oh my goodness, he hits like a dump truck. But yeah, I feel like this boss tests your patience a lot because he's so slow. A lot of the animations they look predictable, but you kind of get a little cocky fighting this boss, and that's where you start to mess up. where it's like, okay, you're gonna get cocky, you're gonna die in 2 hits, and that's what happened to me fighting this boss. So I have him at number 7. I do think there's much harder bosses than him, but this boss, I wouldn't be surprised if I see it higher on other people's list when it pertains to easiest of difficulty. But yeah, I have Rangkus at number 7. Dump truck, hard hitting character. Gotta be careful. Gotta be. I say more mobile than trying to parry everything with him. There are some parry opportunities that would crumple him, but he is a boss fight that you can't make too many mistakes against him. So yeah, I have Rangkus at number 7. Pretty up there. We're getting up there as far as difficulty. So at number 8 we have Shactuka. Yeah, this is a big boy that's very mobile. I feel like the mobility is probably the scariest part of this boss. And when it comes to the big bosses, the camera can be quite difficult sometimes as far as where you're placed within the boss stage. But overall, I don't think Shactuka is too difficult. Very mobile boss fight, but there's a lot of this stuff I felt like is pretty predictable as far as the counter. He does have surprising attacks like a bat leg kick, or if he's knocked down, he would like try to squirm around and just attack you, or bite you. That bite is pretty devastating as well. But I feel like the timing in a lot of his attacks, you have enough ample time to counter a lot of things. The reason why I have him up higher than Rangkus, to be honest with you, is I just feel like Plague is as much harder to deal with than like any other element other than Chaos. But Plague is super annoying to deal with. And this character, it can build up if you are not blocking or dodging properly. To like dodge, there's certain instances you want to dodge with this character, but he's so big and so mobile that even if you were to dodge something, he'll probably still hit you. So like learning how to block or just learn to parry his moves, I feel like is the more optimal thing to do than dodging. But overall, I feel like once you have those patterns locked in, there's not too many like RNG mix-ups that he's really doing here. It's pretty much a straightforward, okay, he's turned around this area, okay, he's back turned, or he just did his bite, there's another attack going to follow up. It doesn't really mix it up like the other bosses, where I feel like some of the RNG is just a little bit more harder to read and you got to react a little bit better. But I got Shactuka up here a little bit higher than Rangkus, just due to that goddamn Plague, man. It's annoying out here. Watch out for the leaping bite. Watch out for his combos. He got like about 2 of them combos. That one, I think it's like a 4-hit one, and the other one might be like a 6-hit one. Just watch out for those, and I feel like you're going to be good in this boss fight. He got a lot of health, but overall, be patient. Watch out for his attacks, and you'll be good to go. But yeah, I have Shactuka at number 8 as far as easiest to difficult boss fights.
Reese? Khazan, my beloved old friend.
At number 9, I have my second favorite boss fight, Reese. I love the hell out of this boss fight. Everything about this boss fight, the setting, the character, the phases, is just amazing. Because this boss fight right here can trick you up. The first phase, easily probably like top 3 easiest bosses in the game. That second phase, oh, it turns up quite a lot. That second phase is like a mixture of Princess Ilyna and Reese together, just having a baby for a boss fight. Everything that you had to deal with the prior princess, you're going to be dealing with here with Reese, but just more amped up here. You know, from light to chaos damage. And this is one of the most annoying moves to deal with, is this little light barrier move that she has, that you can't get past that, but she can. She definitely can. But yeah, I love the hell out of this Reese boss fight. I love the music, the setting, everything about this boss fight. And I love the Faded Memories armor set. Definitely a beast armor set. One that I'm currently using in my new game plus 2 run. And yeah, I love the hell out of this boss fight, man. Reese, like I said, the first phase can get it's not difficult at all. But that second phase can definitely put you for a doozy, and it gets frustrating at a time because you can do so good and so you're doing so well at the first phase of this boss fight, but when you get to that second boss fight, man, palms are sweaty. You know, you don't want to mess up at all, and then you're looking at your potions like, oh my god, I already used 3. Oh, do I have enough for the rest of the boss fight? But yeah, I have Reese here at number 9. Quite a difficult boss fight, but not as difficult as the ones that we're going to be talking about later. But love this boss fight. My second favorite boss fight. Here's some of the action in phase 2. And yeah, I just think this is like a perfect harmony of those boss fights. Like, you have the difficulty spike, you have the easiness a little bit there just to warm you up, and then shit just gets real in the second phase. But yeah, Reese is definitely number 9 for me, as far as, you know, from easiest to hardest bosses. And as far as when it comes to my favorite of boss fights, yeah, this is number 2, 100% number 2. The funny thing about it, she's actually the second to last boss, the main boss that you'll face in this game. But yeah, here's Reese at number 9. Now, this placement I know can be very, very debatable amongst the people within the first Berserker Khazan community. At number 10, I have the infamous Viper. And yeah, this boss, 100%, definitely one of the most difficult boss fights in the game. I think this boss can be placed even way, way higher than how I have him. From number 10 to even probably the 3rd hardest boss in the game. Where you're at in the game, this boss is super, super difficult. For me, the only reason why I feel like it was difficult, because I was still trying to figure out what weapons I'm using. At this moment in time, I was using the dual blades, which is amazing. But after this boss fight is when I kind of transitioned over to the spear. Because I did get the spear that you get from this boss fight. And I was just like, the spear just is like God tier. So that's when it kind of like creeped up a little bit, like, okay, let me start using the spear. And then when you're trying to farm, armor pieces or, items, from the bosses, I was fighting Viper again with the spear, and it was just mostly cakewalk for me. Like, I was destroying him with the spear. But I definitely understand the difficulty spike when it pertains to this boss fight at this moment of time. But I do feel like it depends on the weapon as well. I feel like with the spear, you're just going to have a much easier time facing Viper. Another thing that makes this boss fight kind of annoying and difficult is that, yeah, you're going to have 2 phases here. He has a lot of HP. He hits like a truck. There's a lot of movesets that's happening here within this boss fight. But overall, I think you can still overcome it. I just feel like once I handle the spear, it just became a much easier boss fight from the range that I can fight him at and where I can punish certain things from the boss. But I know this one is going to be up for a lot of debate when it comes to the community. And I can see where people's coming from exactly when it pertains to Viper. But I just feel like he is difficult, but it's not as difficult as the ones that I'm going to be placing higher than him. Because, yeah, you can parry, you can dodge, you can do a lot of things with him. But just watch out for his attacks and you'll be good to go, just like any boss. But I have him at number 10. I have Viper at number 10. Definitely let me know in the comment section how you feel about where I placed Viper. So here we go. At number 11, we have Trokka. Definitely top 5 boss fight in this game. Trokka is definitely going to put you to the test because she has a lot of crazy ranged attacks. And I feel like she's placed properly in this list for me because this boss taught me, like, okay, I learned how to block, I learned how to parry. But in this boss fight, you can't really do that so much. At the end of the day, whatever you are blocking, whatever you're parrying, you're still gonna get that frost damage from Trokka. This boss is definitely having you dodging is the most optimal thing to do when it pertains to fighting Trokka. And some of her attacks super fast, like that one right there. And yeah, she's gonna put you to the test. And don't let me get started. When you see she go up into the air and then go behind that waterfall, you already know you out here for a good time, not a long time. Because Trokka, oh my goodness. I can't tell you how many times it took me to defeat this boss, but I'm just like, wow. This boss definitely took me to the limit. And don't touch them jellyfish. I was like, what is this going on? What is this going on? There's a lot of things going on with this boss fight. You know, you got to dodge a lot of things. And then she comes out here with an unblockable attack that you got to, do your little parry block 2 thing. I forgot the name of it. Look at that. Beautiful boss fight, man. I'm just like, yo, Trokka. This is why I have Trokka higher than Viper. Because, yeah, I do think Viper is a difficult boss fight. Don't get it twisted. But Trokka, I feel like, puts you more to the test due to where you're fighting her in a part of the game and the things that you have to do just to defeat her. She is throwing everything at you, and you just got to learn whether I got to block, whether I got to dodge, whether I got to block. And frost damage, I feel like is one of the most annoying ones to deal with because it just slows you down. The more it builds up, it slows you down. And with some of these boss fights, you just can't be slowed down because they do too much damage and it's just annoying to deal with. But yeah, I have Trokka at number 11 as, yeah, she could be a difficult boss fight. Oh boy, at number 12, I have Skalpel. Skalpel can be a very annoying boss. At first, I was like, this boss is not that difficult. He is not that difficult. But there's certain attacks that Skalpel would do if you're not blocking or dodging or hitting him out of a certain attack, that when he builds up, he goes into this frenzy chaos mode that is super hard to deal with. Man, this boss fight can be very, very hard, very difficult, and it amps up very fast. I know I just use a lot of varies there, but that's how I feel about Skalpel, you know. And just, you know, it's also a troll because this boss has a second phase. I remember the first time beating him, and I was just like, oh yeah, let's go, mission completed. Then he just resurrect again. Oh my goodness. Skalpel, definitely one of the harder boss fights in the game. That's why he's placed so high up here on the list. Cause yeah, phase 1, not so difficult. You can deal with certain things. But phase 2, especially the beginning of phase 2, you just gotta endure. You gotta endure a lot of the craziness that Skalpel will be doing. Oh yeah, didn't I tell you? Plague damage as well. That move right there, if you don't knock that move down, he's gonna go into this berserk mode, and it's pretty much like starting phase 2 here in phase 1, and you're just gonna have to deal with that for a couple of minutes within that pseudo mode. So yeah, I have Skalpel pretty high up here on the list because yeah, I do find him very difficult. It took me a while to deal with this boss, and plague damage, chaos, frost, I put those very high up there. Fire is up there as well, because fire can just take you out easily, but nothing can take you out that quick like plague. Plague takes you out super fast, and this is a boss that you got to make sure you have those cleanse potions on you, because if he has you halfway within that, oh, it's a GG, it's a wrap. But yeah, Skalpel at number 12. Pretty difficult boss fight, and we're getting up there. At number 13, we have the Berserk Dragon Hismar. This is by far one of the most annoying boss fights I've ever came across, just due to how large this boss is, and it kind of got some weird hitboxes with this boss. The camera gets out of whack a lot, and yeah, he's quite difficult because how hard Hismar can hit. There's definitely a pattern for Hismar as far as his attacks. They're pretty predictable, especially the first phase, but yeah, it gets annoying in the second phase. Here I put up the concentrated poison essence cheese. This is a video that I uploaded just to get people to destroy Hismar very, very quickly, but the developers quickly took it out. But with the cheese, Hismar is definitely one of the easiest bosses in the game. Without it, he is up there, you know, in top 3 in my personal opinion, hence placing him number 13. Not necessarily the boss itself, but more so the camera angles, the weird hitbox, how to punish this boss can be weird. It's just a kind of a interesting decision that they did here with this boss, or hopefully they can get it fixed rather than patching out certain things that, you know, we figure out here. I'd rather them fixing this boss. But yeah, this boss has some AoEs that is very annoying with chaos damage. A lot of fast attacks, but once you get the pattern down, it's not so bad. But it's just the camera angles and the weird hitboxes and how to punish him that makes this boss pretty difficult. But yeah, I have Hismar at number 13 as, you know, one of the hardest bosses in the game without the poison essence cheese. With it, definitely one of the easiest boss fights in the game. But sorry about that for anybody that enjoyed that video, but that's not on me, that's on the developers. But yeah, Hismar, number 13, hardest boss. At number 14, we have my first wall that I hit in this game. And that is Maluca. Maluca is a difficult boss fight. This is where you got introduced to the whole chaos damage. And when you got hit with chaos damage, you're like, wait, what the hell's going on? Why is my health so low? Why is it not going up? You know what I mean? But Maluca, I would say the first phase of this boss, not difficult at all. But that second phase, oh my goodness. Whoa. Man, that boss can put you on your ass quickly. You know, if you don't know how to deal with some of that stuff with this, like you'll be in a wall just like me when it pertains to Maluca. Like legit, this is probably one of the bosses that I have tried the most as far as just like dying. Let's see if this worked. Let's see if this worked. I died a lot fighting Maluca, where it got me questioning like, yo, can I beat this game? Maluca is definitely one of the hardest bosses in this game, easily. I feel like he's harder than Viper, harder than Hismar, harder than Trokka. This boss fight is definitely the real wall that you hit in this game. So I have Maluca at number 14 as far as one of the most difficult bosses within this game. And it gets pretty worse because the next boss after this, I feel like personally has been the second hardest boss in this game. But at number 14, we have Maluca. And at number 15, we have Elamein. So many emotions happened with me with this boss fight because I truly love this character, Elamein. I thought she was ride or die for Khazan, but everything that she went through just to get to this boss fight, I was like, damn man, are they going to really have us fighting Elamein? And what makes Elamein super difficult is that she's one of those fights, once again, just like you know, she's very aggressive. She hits very hard. She got range attacks. It's just she got counters. She pretty much your tool set she has as well. But one thing that makes her super difficult is that shield, because every time she's blocking and you hitting with that shield, you're charging up that electrocution damage that she has, and it just stuns your stamina bar like a mother. But yeah, I feel like Elamein, in my opinion, is the second most difficult boss in this game. And once again, just like Maluca, this is one of those bosses that definitely put me to the test, because I don't know how many tries I did just to defeat the boss. Obviously, once you learn her, you know, you get much better and get more acclimated with the game. I can come back and fight her, but there's a version that's even harder for Elamein. But yeah, I have Elamein as the second hardest boss in this game. That is my opinion. I think it's fact. There's nobody that can change my opinion as far as Elamein not being the second hardest boss in the game. Just the struggle that you have to be fighting one of your companions, and then when you're fighting her, she's just like a beast. But yeah, Elamein, number 15, the second hardest boss in my personal opinion in the first Berserker Khazan. Let's get to number 1, the one and only At number 16, we have Ozma. Are you surprised? Are you shocked? Ozma is definitely the hardest boss within this game. Not only are you going to be fighting this boss for 3 phases, if you're going for the true ending, which, you know, you should go for, but you have to deal with the most attacks I ever seen in a boss fight. Ozma phase 1 probably has about, I want to say 8 or 9 attacks, and then you got to deal with ample versions of those attacks in phase 2 plus more new ones on top of that. And then there's a 3rd phase where you got to deal with everything that you dealt with in phase 1 and in phase 2 plus more command grabs and attacks. This boss is crazy. I do have an Ozma guide for those people that are struggling to fight this boss, but this actual footage here is actually my first time beating Ozma. So every time I beat a boss for the first time, I always save it, always clip it, but I never really uploaded it before. The only time I did it is after I beat Ozma about 30 more times. I was like, I feel very comfortable with this strategy here. Let me upload it and share it with the people. And shout out to everyone that checked out that video, because you guys loved it. It all helped you out to complete the game, heck, to even platinum the game. But that doesn't defeat the fact that Ozma is still a very difficult boss fight, which is even harder now because he's doing more damage and chaos damage with the recent patch update. But the strategy that I have still applies, especially if you are a spear user. But yeah, Ozma is definitely the hardest boss in the game. Like I said, it's just so much that you have to deal with, so much that you have to remember. On top of that, you're dealing with a lot of other elemental damages. So you're dealing with chaos, you're dealing with frost, you're dealing with fire. He got this attack where if you're not blocking on time, you're pretty much taking your whole life away. In that round 1 when he goes up in the air and it's like boing, you know. And then he got these get off me tools where you can't just like cheese him out with constant hits, because he got these get off me tools of fire and chaos and tornadoes all around the place. Here in phase 2, as you can see, new attacks that he's doing. You're pretty much watching every key animation that you have to do with Ozma. But eventually, like I said, with all these bosses, you will learn them. Oh yeah, don't forget the mines as well, the chaos mines that, you know, he just randomly throws out there, and then the AoE attacks that, you know, that he randomly just puts out there. You know, so you got to deal with mines, you got to deal with AoEs, you got to deal with chaos damage, you got to deal with earth damage, you got to deal with fire damage, you got to deal with frost damage, you got to deal with everything with Ozma unblockables. This boss is crazy, and that's why he is on the tippity top of the list at number 16. I'm going to show the rest of the boss fight here as far as my first time beating him. But yeah, this is a crazy boss fight, man. And yeah, we got him at the hardest one at number 1, which I think nobody's really shocked at that fact. You know, Ozma is a difficult boss fight. But hopefully you all enjoyed this video here. Let me know in the comment section below how you all feel or felt about where I placed the main 16 bosses within the game. Let me know how you feel about it. Which ones you disagree with, which ones you agree with, how accurate I am with this list as far as the easiest to hardest. Let me know in the comment section below. And definitely check out some more first Berserker Khazan. I might do a my favorite boss fights tier list. So I might do a tier list boss fight. We'll see. You never know. But I do apologize for taking so long for doing this video. Just been crazy hectic with life and traveling and whatnot. But for anyone that's checking out this one, hopefully you enjoy it, and let me know your opinions in the comment section below. It's your boy Jay Bari. I'm gone. Enjoy the rest of the gameplay. Deuces.